President Trump seems to run southeast Wisconsin through you.
I was always under the impression that Congress was responsible for issuing the tariff. I really feel that this is a terrible tax that's going to be placed upon the citizens of the United States.
This really, at its core, needs to be an opportunity to make sure that other countries are treating the United States fairly. The United States... You don't have, I'm not looking... I want to be able to get through as many of your questions as we can.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will never get questions if we can't keep the auditorium quiet.
It's not politics, it's morality. I care about people. And what I see happening to our immigrant population embarrasses me. You have not raised a voice to complain about it. Where do I see your leadership? I see no leadership. I see following Trump 100% of the time, and Trump's lead has been...
We'll probably agree to disagree on some of my answer here, but what I view is the moral hazard created by the Biden administration by allowing the U.S.-Mexico border to remain insecure. And so... I'm of the view that Israel has the right to defend itself, and the easy and simplest way to end this horrific war is for Hamas to surrender and release their hostages. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Doesn't mean that everyone fully agreed with me. I know there's a lot of people that did agree with me. I thank you down here, folks in the back as well, and look forward to seeing everybody again soon.
There was a town hall that happened just yesterday in Wisconsin. Brian Stile, the congressman there, who is in a swing district. This is a district that Donald Trump carried by 2 points in 2026. He was asked about tariffs from the crowd, and he defended the president's approach.
My main concern is the tariffs that are coming up. I would like to know what dire economic circumstances put Trump in a position of throwing tariffs on over 190 countries.
This really, at its core, needs to be an opportunity to make sure that other countries are treating the United States fairly. The United States...
There's so much you hear from Republicans about you got to be patient, telling
Yes.
voters to be patient. The question is how much patience will voters give them?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's interesting because I think Republicans in Congress have basically abdicated their role in the tariffs conversation right now, basically continuously saying when you've chased them down the hallways, when my colleagues at Notice have chased them down the hallways, that they want to give Trump space in a runway to effectuate these tariffs and see what happens. I think now we are at least starting to see some of what may happen. I was talking to one outside advisor to Trump who he listens to on the economy, and I asked him about his reaction to the report, and he said 3 words: bad report, yikes. This is not something that the White House can necessarily talk down, at least this individual jobs report. Yes, there are muddy waters, but it's a far stretch from what we heard from them just on Wednesday when they were so excited. And I think it's really telling that we have not heard specifically from Donald Trump on this. For the last 5-6 days that we have heard from the president, he has started every remarks that he has talking about how good the economy, talking about how America is the hottest country in the world. And yet we haven't heard from him about these job numbers, about these revisions. And so obviously he's leaving the White House at 3 p.m. today. He's going to have to answer some questions about it, but it's a far departure. And Congress, I think, you're going to have people asking them a lot of questions about, is it time for them to step in and do something? And I don't know if you're going to hear Republicans say yes.
Yeah, I mean, no word from Trump yet. When the GDP numbers came out this week, which were positive, I think within seconds, he was out there posting about how great it was.
I mean, I think the word you hear from Trump has been his criticism of Jerome Powell, which, by the way, he knows the job numbers. He gets the job numbers before they actually come out. And so when I saw at, I think, 6:30 a.m. when he was attacking Powell, I was like, oh, this may not be a great employment report. Look, I think one thing to keep in mind as everybody kind of watches this play out, humility is okay. We don't necessarily know how this is going to go. What we do know, and I can say this with some certainty based on conversations I've had, there's not going to be a dramatic pivot from the administration when it comes to their trade policy. Like, this is it. And for all the tacos and turbulence and carve-outs and threats and theater over the course of the last 120 plus days during the Liberation Day tariffs pause, we're in it now. And this is reality going forward. And I think when you talk to officials, they believe that the freak out in the wake of April 2nd, which eventually led to markets being at all-time highs, the resiliency of the U.S. economy, Republicans continuing to stay in line, has only bolstered their view that this is the right path forward. And I think people need to kind of keep that in mind as they think through, what does this all mean going forward?
I mean, that's the Trump believes that all the panic has not borne out. He believes that he is, and he also seems, this whole Trump always chickens out taco thing.
He did not like that.
He did not like that so much.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, his voters, as well as Republicans, I mean, they have given him a lot of leeway, understanding that there might be some disruption for a little bit. The people who support him. The other voters in the middle, people who didn't support him, obviously there's a lot of heartburn, to say the least, about this. I think what we're going to have to look at is that double squeeze we get for people who even were in support of this idea. We've had 3 months now of manufacturing jobs contracting. That was a huge justification for these. And if you're not getting your manufacturing job back and your costs are going up, at what point do you start to say, this isn't the economy I wanted?
Yeah, and we talked about the politics of it. There was an interesting comment from who's the Michigan Senate Republican candidate endorsed by the Republican leadership. He was asked about this. He said the shoe is going to pinch every once in a while. And the good news about the White House is that even when there's a case that comes up that doesn't seem fair or rational, we even call and they're at least open to a conversation, which is great. He is in a complicated position here because of Michigan, because of the auto tariffs, because of Canada, which they do a lot of trade with.
Yeah, and you're going to have to see how these Republican candidates especially speak out, because they have a lot more at stake when it comes to these policies over the next 18 months. But if you look at the Republican Party base, and I was just looking at these numbers before I came up here, they are overwhelmingly believing that this is a long-term winner. It's like an 86-10 issue among Republicans. Trump responds to what his base wants. He doesn't really care so much about the independents. And as long as there is this belief in the Republican Party base that this is going to pan out over the long term, I think he's going to move forward with it.
All right, we shall see, and we'll see. Trump's, Phil Madley says these tariffs are here to stay. We'll see if that is indeed the case. Phil's usually always right, so I will never doubt Phil.